Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are wading right into the massive, completely overwhelming, and, let's be honest, kind of unregulated, Wild West ecosystem of digital therapeutics. If you've ever found yourself just staring at your phone, totally paralyzed by the sheer number of mental wellness apps, all promising to fix your sleep or cure your anxiety or magically optimize your brain, well, you are in exactly the right place. We are going to cut straight through the noise. Today, we're doing a full review of the top 11 mental health applications out there to help you build a personalized, scientifically backed mental wellness stack.
Okay, let's dive into this. According to clinical evaluations by digital health research projects, a shockingly low 3 to 5% of the mental health apps currently sitting on the App Store actually have direct scientific backing. Just 3 to 5%. The vast majority of them, they're basically just unverified digital journals wrapped in pretty colors, designed to lock you into these super expensive yearly auto-renewals.
And this reveals the massive paradox of the whole digital mental health market. We are constantly caught in this tug-of-war between two extremes. On one side, you have these gorgeously designed, highly engaging apps built by giant commercial teams, but they totally lack rigorous clinical science. And on the flip side, you have highly clinical, super evidence-based apps built by brilliant academic researchers that are honestly just too dry and boring for anyone to actually open up and use consistently.
So here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. We'll start with the digital mental health paradox, then hit the preventative heavyweights, check out gamified companions in AI, dive into clinical science and data tracking, talk about acute panic and professional therapy, and finally wrap up with the existential offline alternative.
Section 1. The digital mental health paradox. Engagement versus evidence. We've set the stage, so we definitely need a framework to properly evaluate what's out there.
Section 2. The preventive heavyweights. This is all about lowering your daily baseline stress.
The secret here is realizing that literally no single application is a magic silver bullet. You really have to understand the specific psychological job that each app is being hired to do. For daily baseline lowering, we look at the two absolute titans in the industry. Headspace is basically the industry standard for structured mindfulness. It uses this great modular education approach and is clinically proven to reduce stress in just 10 days. Meanwhile, Calm focuses way more on passive relaxation and sensory experiences, like their famous celebrity sleep stories. But hey, quick word of warning for you, while Calm is amazing for insomnia, users often complain about those sneaky, expensive auto-renewals, and there's a very real danger of developing a psychological dependency. You might suddenly find you literally can't fall asleep unless Matthew McConaughey is reading to you.
Section 3. Gamified companions and AI chatbots. Bypassing app fatigue. Let's be totally real for a second. For a lot of people, traditional text-based journaling when you're feeling depressed just feels like an exhausting chore. Nobody wants to do homework when they're down. So here we weigh two brilliant alternatives. Finch is a gamified virtual pet. You complete real-world self-care tasks, and that actually helps your digital bird grow. This kind of relational accountability totally removes the guilt of traditional habit tracking and is incredible at curing executive dysfunction, which drives super high retention. On the other end of the spectrum, we have Wysa. It's an FDA-designated AI conversational penguin. But seriously, do not let the cute interface fool you. Wysa uses highly clinical CBT and DBT tools. That means it actively challenges your negative thought patterns and helps regulate intense emotions, so you can actually process complex feelings properly.
Section 4. Clinical science and data tracking. This one is all about tracking the hard data.
But hey, what if you just aren't motivated by virtual pets or conversational penguins? For the analytical folks out there who prioritize hard data, neuroplasticity, and mapping out behavioral correlations, we've got you. MindShift CBT offers clinical-grade exposure therapy protocols and fear ladders, and it's completely free. Then there's MoodFit, which acts kind of like a highly customizable brain fitness tracker for variables like your sleep, nutrition, and nervous system states. And for the busy professionals who absolutely hate typing things out on their phone, Dailyo gives you super low-friction icon logging. You literally just tap a few emojis a day, and over time, it builds these incredibly deep correlation charts showing exactly what triggers your bad days.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when pure academic science actually meets great app development. The results are just massive. The Healthy Minds program, which was developed by neuroscientists over at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, is totally free, it's nonprofit, and it requires just 5 minutes a day to achieve a 28% reduction in subjective stress. There's zero gamification here. It is just a highly effective, science-first gym for your brain.
Section 5. Acute panic and professional therapy. High-stakes interventions. Okay, so everything we've talked about so far works great for daily maintenance, but what happens in those high-stakes situations when preventive baseline tools just aren't cutting it anymore? I want to speak directly to your physical experience for a second. If your nervous system is at an 8 out of 10, your heart is pounding out of your chest, and the ceiling feels like it's spinning, opening up a passive meditation app and listening to a soft voice tell you to notice your breath is absolutely not going to work. Actually, scratch that. It might literally just make you angry. During acute somatic panic, you do not need passive mindfulness. You need a cognitive pattern disruptor. For those really intense, acute moments, you need an app like Rooted. Rooted features this giant, bright red SOS panic button that uses active cognitive disruption. It forces you through these confront or comfort loops to actively break that physiological fear cycle. And look, when self-guided digital tools simply aren't enough, platforms like Talkspace step in. They provide licensed human teletherapy and psychiatry, proving that sometimes human professional intervention isn't just an option, it is absolutely necessary.
Section 6, the existential offline alternative, the CausalChain app.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we're looking at a completely unique outlier. In an era where literally every app out there wants to sync your deepest, most private thoughts to the cloud, the CausalChain app rejects that model entirely. It's built around what's called the Frankel gap, which is the space of human agency and resilience. It doesn't just ask, how are you feeling, and track your mood. Instead, it specifically tracks the gap between your physical exhaustion, your raw energy, and your spiritual willpower or intentional clarity.
This whole concept is directly inspired by the existential psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps during World War II. Frankl realized something incredibly profound. Even under the absolute most brutal physical conditions imaginable, humans retain the ultimate freedom to choose their response. While he was imprisoned, he actively focused his mind on future goals and reconstructed his destroyed manuscript using stolen slips of paper. Finding meaning in those tiny, stolen moments acted as his absolute psychological anchor.
What CausalChain does is digitize those stolen slips of paper into secure, offline, digital micronotes. To completely protect your privacy, it uses a zero-cloud architecture. That means everything is stored 100% locally on your device, period. By having you capture the core theme of your day in just a single sentence, it totally prevents the fatigue you get from long-form journaling. And by mapping out the daily dual, where it compares your physical state to your active intention, it helps you maintain your personal agency. It actually shows you, with your own data, that a physical energy deficit does not get to dictate your willpower.
Finally, synthesizing your mental wellness stack.
We've covered so much ground today, from gamified virtual birds all the way to existential offline journals. The good news? You don't need to download all 11 of these apps to build the ultimate digital support system. You really just need one from each core category. Let's move to and see how this builds. First, pick a daily baseline app, like Healthy Minds or Headspace, to slowly lower your stress over time. Second, add a low-friction tracker, like Dailyo or Finch, to maintain your daily habits without all the guilt. Third, make sure you keep an emergency SOS app like Root right on your home screen for those acute panic attacks. And fourth, secure your most private reflections with an existential tool like CausalChain. Put them together, and they form a perfectly balanced mental wellness stack.
So, the crucial point is this. The App Store is ultimately just a toolbox. You are the architect. As you look at all the apps currently sitting right there on your phone, I want you to ask yourself this final question. Are they just making you hyper-focus on your negative moods, or are they genuinely helping you build meaning and reclaim your personal agency? Choose your tools wisely and start building your stack. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.